My name's Aaron Short. Welcome to this podcast. Today's topic is the state of the acoustic guitar in 2024. And I've got just the people to do this with. We've got Henning's mum over here. Hi. Most important.
Yeah,
most
thank
important.
you.
Because this is Henning's mother's house we're in, which is the perfect location for a podcast like this, I feel. And then I'm going to say the names wrong as I have yesterday as well. So we're going to go start with that. Furk Guitars is not how you say the name of your company.
Yeah, it's Furch guitars.
Can you say it for us as well?
Furch. Yeah.
Fork, yeah.
Easy.
Yeah. Fork. Fork.
Furch. That was close enough.
That was pretty good. Right?
good.
That's the best
That was
so
good.
far. And your name is
Peter.
Peter. So, what's your position at the company?
Well, I'm a director of a company. You can call it CEO of the company.
CEO of the company. Perfect for this podcast. And we also have Dowina.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. And your name is?
Erika.
And your position is?
Yeah, the CEO and owner of the company.
So we have the owners of two boutique guitar brands, acoustic guitar brands.
Yeah, you can post it this way.
And we've decided to do this podcast today because this rarely happens. I'm a acoustic guitar fan. I have my YouTube channel. We're here at 42 Gear Street. We should say that. My channel is really focused on acoustic guitar. And the fact that we have the ability to sit here and record a podcast specifically about acoustic guitar with two acoustic guitar builders, this is really a really rare opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we're doing this podcast. So this is quite exciting for me. And yeah, it's going to be really fun. We're just going to talk really casually and openly about your companies, but also the bigger picture of just the acoustic guitar as a focus today. And I think this is awesome. But before we get really into this, we should just do introductions. So can you just give us like a really brief, because we'll put links to the websites in the description.
Okay.
Just a really brief, for people that don't know anything about your brand, like when did you start? How did you get started?
So, well, basically, Furch Guitars company, they were founded by my father. So it was it was actually deep in communism time when, in this time, a lot of people in Czech Republic were pretty much into American music, folk music, bluegrass music, country music. It was a big thing there then because it was sort of like a rebellion against the regime. And so it gathered a lot of people. The community was massive. And the problem which people had back then is access to quality instruments, because import from United States or somewhere abroad it was very difficult, very costly, and so on. And so he said, well, if I want to have a good instrument, I have to build it. Otherwise, I cannot ever make enough money to buy it actually from the West. So he made his first guitar. It was actually kind of Ovation style, this round back guitar. He made this making like a fiberglass back and sides technically. The top board he basically used for like an old piano which he bought from neighbors and made a top board out of that. And well, when he finished the guitar, he brought it to his friends at the rehearsal, and they said, well, can you maybe make one for me as well, and so on. And so that's how he made the first guitar. That's how he collected first orders, and that's the start.
What year was this?
81.
You started in 81?
81 is
company?
Yeah, well, we dated back to 81. Technically, we could not have a license for business back then because it was communism time. You are not allowed to make your own money. It's actually a very illegal thing to do.
But you're not a new company. You've been around for a long time.
That's where it started, pretty slowly, as a just a couple of guitars per year, let's say. But then after revolution in 89, 90s, that was, my father made it legal, because that's when what revolution happened, and that was a legal start of the company. But we still dated back to 81.
And Dowina Guitars, what year were the founded?
Yeah, actually, we're kind of similar story because we're one country. We're actually neighbors.
Yeah, that's right.
So we're Czechoslovakia. So yeah, basically the same story. The company started with my father, but actually after the revolution, after 89, he decided to do the distribution. So he gathered the expertise in another way. But our fathers went to school together, the luthier school in Lubby, So this is how they learned to do guitars. So really neighbors.
Yeah, they were actually schoolmates in that.
So actually, this is a topic right here. Just this this is a whole podcast for another day right there.
Yeah.
Because you know each other and the way you do business in your country different to other countries, and that's a whole topic.
Like it's a little laboratory, I would say, because it's really rare.
But that's really interesting. And I'm Aaron Short Music. I've done a lot on my channel about acoustic guitar amplification, so I'm going to touch on that later as well, because that's really important to me, because I plug in the guitars a lot, which I know is a bit the word acoustic implies playing the guitar in the room, but I'm really about that middle ground of how do you amplify the acoustic guitar. So I've got a question on that later on that we'll cover. So let's get started. I'm going to throw out some questions that you might see on forums or things that people talk about. Some will be very niche and some will be more general. And we're just going to talk. And I'll step in because we're going to try and keep this to around an hour. So I might cut you off, or I'll direct it. I'll give some input, but I really want to get your raw thoughts on some topics, right? And we'll just see where it goes. Okay, so we're going to start with what I've called the meaning of life question. Now we're just going to go straight to the big question, right? And I'm going to pick who starts, and I'm going to pick you.
Okay.
What makes a great acoustic guitar?
It's the tone wood and the work. This is the
work?
Yeah, the work. Because if you've got a great tone wood, you can still completely mess it out. And it happened to us as well. So
the build.
Yeah, the build. Like actually who, or not who, because we have, I think, like different opinion. We will get like who or how you make it. So you actually get your material. And then this is the big question. What do you do about this material? And then the final client. Because I think there is not one response like this is the perfect acoustic guitar or this is the perfect sound, because we are like 10 luthiers within the company and each of us has like different style.
So do you have a standard guitar or do you build customs only?
Currently we are switching to custom made, but we used to have standard.
And do you have a standard line?
We have a standard line,
so do you custom mainly as well?
Yeah, sure, we do.
Work with customers and ask them what they want and build bespoke instruments.
Yeah, we do
that. Okay, so you both do customs. Okay, so it's the craftsmanship and the qualities.
Yeah.
Okay, so same question to you. What is a great acoustic guitar?
Well, the great acoustic would be basically whatever instrument which basically is making whatever transfers your idea to your audience. That's the best acoustic, because it's a tool.
That's too general. More specifically, what do you think makes a great acoustic?
Okay, an instrument which responds to your inputs as best as possible. So emotional, physical inputs. These are making great guitar for you, because it's not about like what I think was the best guitar, because I can have different taste than you, and definitely different taste maybe than Erika or some other guys. Or Mrs. Henning over here.
Yeah.
That's about you, about musician. And I'm trying to make the tool which is doing the job for you as best as possible.
So the emotional connection, I like that answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, what connects you on an emotional level. And that could be anything. For some players, it could be how it looks. For some players, it could be something within the sound, right? There's so many... Yeah. There's so many levels of those things, and you're right, they are different for different people. What about you as a guitar fan, though? What do you like? Let's do something specific, just as you as a guitarist yourself. Like, what's one of your favorite tone woods or features of a guitar that you personally like?
Well, the guitar which I'm using the most and I enjoy the most these days is our little Jane, our Traveler. Because why? Well, it's I can bring it everywhere with me.
Right.
When I'm
with you.
I'm a member of Sports Cars Club of Czech Republic, and that's we have small cars, so I can fit 2 little Janes, bring it to our events. One is for my friend, one is for me. We can have a gig on the event, just for ourselves
and socially,
and that's
make music with people.
Yeah, okay. Well, you're making fun for people, and they having great time. So that's some of the purpose of musical instruments in general, I think.
Convenience. They say that the best. We've got some amazing cameras here today, but people say the best camera you have is this, because you've always got it with you, and there's a lot of truth.
Yeah, that's right.
You're a musician. You're a guitarist.
Yeah. Like for me, it's different because me, I want the guitar actually to therapeutically make the response, so it speaks to me. So for instance, I'm very much into like this really like hard tone woods with beautiful sustain that you like strum and it make all the vibration and it soothes you down. You don't even need to know how to play chords. So for me, it's this way. But I can imagine exactly. I totally agree with your point. That's beautiful because this is what like music is about. Like to enjoy it and the socializing. Yeah. But when I'm speaking like frankly about me, like I want that like big sustain and like the hear and feel the sound wave. So that's
the word there, the feel.
Feel that you can
instrument, which a lot of people don't talk about. Like how does it feel? Because the audience doesn't know how the acoustic guitar feels, do they? They don't feel it like the player.
Yeah, but not everybody, it's not important for everybody, and it's absolutely super cool.
Oh, no, that's why I'm asking you. That's why I'm asking you.
I actually would agree with your point as well, because this is, I think subconsciously everybody feels that, everybody responds to that, but just some people recognize that already, and some people just feel it. Maybe don't know what the feeling is, but they respond to guitar. Yeah. It's a physical connection with acoustic guitar and the human body because it vibrates. And that's what I like about guitar. So yeah, definitely, I like that point.
You do realize this was a trick question?
It was?
Yeah.
No, that was an easy question, buddy.
What makes a great acoustic? There isn't an answer. And there's so many levels to it.
Exactly.
And the minute you said feel, you agreed. And when you were talking about the connection with a friend, you agreed. There's so many things, and I could now list off another, we could sit here for the whole podcast just going through each little thing, and we'll all agree. And that's another podcast right there. Yeah. That's why I started with that question, and I wanted to get your personal, not as a builder or a brand, just when you play, what is it? Because I don't think people think about this stuff enough. And also, some people buy acoustic guitars, which is fine, to put on the wall. They don't play them at all. No,
but that's absolutely fine because
then it's art.
Yeah.
Is there a space for art? I got a friend that paints guitars, and they are, well, he says they should be played as well, but they're really purchased initially by a lot of customers to look at them because they've got, the art is on the guitar. It's a painting on the guitar. And actually, I'm seeing that a lot more. I'll add this question in. I'm seeing a lot of brands in the last few months painting either artwork on the top of the guitar or printing. So like, I know Martin Guitar now have like a printer where they can actually print like the finish. So they can take a piece of wood that's, some people don't like saying this, but cosmetically challenged. Some customers care about if there's any is wood really flawed? Well, some people think it should be perfect. They can print and it looks like a perfect piece of wood. Pretty controversial stuff. Most traditional acoustic players do not like that because they believe that the wood is the natural, that is why you play an acoustic guitar. But commercially thinking, I can see why. Then you can use lots of pieces of wood and have the same looking guitar. Let's add this in. Do you do anything like that with your guitars? And what are your thoughts? And we'll start with you. What are your thoughts on that concept?
On concept of like covering some imperfections.
If you just on the top. Taylor also just released some with like sports fans logos on the top of the guitar.
Well, definitely getting a visually good quality material these days is getting more and more difficult. Or I would say even periodically, because some years you have a good harvest, some years you have a great harvest in general. So it's tougher sometimes. But I know that with all the technology and basically the know-how we have and we apply on guitar, it's we can make a great sounding guitar out of the B-grade material. I've tried it, and it's just about the sound quality.
There's no dispute about the sound. Like I hate saying it. Check out the comment section later. Ugly wood can sound incredible. Does the look? And some people argue the look of the guitar, acoustic guitar, doesn't even matter. It's all about the sound and feel, sound and feel, right? And playing the guitar. No, my question is just: let's be more specific. Does your company currently paint any kind of
well, except like a traditional stuff like a sunburst and stuff.
That was the beginning, right? Sunburst.
Sunburst, but we don't do sunburst like a non-transparent. We always do transparent sunburst. So even towards the edge of the guitar, you see what the grain looks like.
That's nice.
So we cannot really hide it's not meant to hide the imperfections.
Right.
Well, a good thing. for us definitely is that we are still quite a small company. Our production is about 9,000 guitars per year. So it's not that big. We can still obtain enough of like a good quality materials.
And that's why people should buy from smaller companies because, for example, again, Martin Guitar cannot provide, they can't make a standard guitar with Brazilian rosewood.
I think for the purchasing departments, it's truly is a difficult thing to get like, 50,000 sets of AA quality of Sitka, for example.
Oh, but actually Martin bought a huge stock of Brazilian.
Oh no, I know,
Yeah,
but they
so
won't. They won't make a standard series.
Yeah, of course. Like, why would they?
That's
so it's
for
so precious.
custom orders.
Yeah,
and you can like I could come to you and order a Brazilian rosewood back and sides guitar for a fairly reasonable price, right? Not 20,000 upcharge.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why people should consider going to you guys and not the bigger companies because you've still got access to all those
fantastic
materials.
downloads.
Yeah.
We got it easier because we are smaller. That's for sure.
Yeah. That's the plus side. Let's talk about that for a second then. Pros and cons of being a smaller, and I mean that respectfully, of course, a smaller company. It goes without saying when you are a Fender, a Taylor kind of brand, there's different pros and cons. Like I said, they have access to all the woods, but they can't use them because they have so many customers, they would run out of it.
Yeah.
What is the, we'll come back, no, we'll start with you this time. The pro of being the company that you are over, say Fender, a bigger company. What's the pro in your view? Making less than 10,000 guitars. What can you focus on that you couldn't focus on?
I can tell you specifically what's con actually, but what pros are. We sort of don't drag the history behind us, so we can probably have more options, which directions we can go. We can more experiment. I mean, with the design, with innovations, because we are basically trying to win a new customer. So
clean slate.
Yeah,
that's great.
And that's probably the big one. I think also like a pro in our size that we are not like we are not really like a luthier. I would say we are like a small serial production company, and this means that we already have a means and the revenues and the number of guitars which so we can do a proper research and development. So I can really, if I have some innovation which I want to test, I can make 10 guitars and just average out the results, and basically see what the innovation has done or hasn't done. And this is, I was trying to build that for many years, actually. Ever since I got into guitar building, I wanted to have this position. Yeah. And this is good thing about our size particularly. But it's not so much compared to Fender Taylor. They probably have that possibility as well, maybe bigger than us. But
R&D, right?
Yeah.
Oh, they have beautiful R&D.
Yeah, they still have it.
They're still fantastic.
Yeah. So that's probably not answering your question. But I always like I always see this as like a cool thing about our size. And what I enjoy the most actually this is that we can really play with new stuff, new ideas, and then. Sometimes we just trash them and say, no, market is not ready for it right now. Or maybe this is good. Let's push this one.
And I've seen that because I've seen some technologies you're introducing in the future that people will learn about, which really impress me. So yeah,
thank you.
Now it's your turn, but not that question. The opposite. Okay. What's the worst thing for you
about being small?
Being a small company, but small builder.
Yeah, that you don't have all these like also marketing and sales means, so actually it's money.
More work.
Yeah. But it's okay, it's life, and it was like my decision to do it this way. So actually make the company smaller and smaller. So we have like this it was this kind of same.
You like that. You like it?
Yeah, I like that. Like, this is what I like when each guitar is different, so I know our guitars. I know like, oh, so you are getting this guitar. I chose the wood for you. So, I remember we had so much hassle with that one, so this is what I enjoy. And we spoke about it yesterday. So you need to do the stuff that really like is in harmony with your personality and with your goals.
So if I could snap my fingers and make you bigger than a Fender, would you want me to do it or not?
No,
Okay.
I'm incapable of that. Actually, like, so it would be like putting me in the middle of the ocean and like battle with that, and I wouldn't be like good at it.
You're like a singer-songwriter that wants to stay...
No, it's like...
That doesn't want to be Ed Sheeran. They want to create their own, have a control and make their own music.
Because Ed Sheeran can do that, so you need to go with what's your personality and how you can handle it, and with the people you are working with, and so we are really super
that.
tight team.
Yeah. That's
And I so I go to work and I feel super comfortable there.
But Peter, if I could snap my fingers and you're bigger than a Fender, would you want me to do it or not? Honestly.
Well, it's not an easy answer because, of course, yes, I would go
Okay,
for
that was
big,
the answer. That was the answer.
and suddenly, if suddenly happened that Furk would be like amazingly known, brand awareness would be like a 3,000% higher, and tomorrow everybody wouldn't want to buy Furk guitar. I can tell you, this would be like a hugely difficult for us. I know it from the COVID times, like we were increasing the production by 150%, like for 4 years, and it was really tough, So yeah,
again,
nice idea. But
none of these questions have a right or wrong answer. We all have different goals in life, and different approaches, and sometimes they change too, right?
Yeah, of course, like they develop.
I just love again being able to ask these questions. So you just mentioned the pandemic. Loads of guitars sold. You walk into guitar stores, there's no guitars. Guitar stores were looking to buy, they were asking to buy customers' guitars. So same with cars, all that stuff, right? But things have really changed this year. Now the used market is struggling. It's all shifted the other way. The topic is 2024 state of acoustic guitar. So let's talk a little bit about numbers and like the finance side. Like, in your opinion, start here.
Yeah.
Is the market struggling for acoustic guitar?
Yeah, like I think it's struggling.
Okay.
But I think it's natural. And I feel like during the COVID times, everybody was buying guitar, they were stuck at home. So I think it's absolutely like natural development.
Yeah.
But, so I adjusted. I say, okay, so it's a risk, but let's do what I really enjoy. It's exactly different stuff, small stuff, niche stuff, and we will find a client for it. And actually the clients are finding us. So it turned out well. But I can tell, like, for a big brands, big brands, and it's also about the people, because, these huge factories, that there's actually employees. And if they like can fulfill, so the work, so I am worried about them.
Did either of your companies lay off anyone? Did you hire extra people and lay them off? Oh, the famous one is Fender. That was they had to get rid of people. And then we know lots of guitars are in now guitars are being sold at cost, and they're being trashed. It's terrible on all sides. But did either of your companies have to do anything like that, like hire new people quickly and then lay people off, or did you just stay the same because of the size of the company? You just stayed the same the whole way through?
We were actually planning for production increase because the forecasting from our dealers, let's say 1.5 years ago, was that we need more and more and more. And then at some point they said, okay, well, maybe we don't need that much, and but we already, because we always need to plan ahead. Training of people for some works can take like 6 months or so. So yeah, we really did have to lay off some people, which we were like training for the production increase.
Okay.
So
it did affect you the same as the
It's I think it's quite natural. I was talking to my team probably like 2-3 years ago. Then okay, we are in unusual situation. Markets behave very unnaturally. So this is gonna be end to it. It's not gonna go like back to older days, but it's gonna stop at some point. We just don't know absolutely. We just had no indicator of when it's gonna happen. So you just have to be ready to, financially be prepared, basically, to make your company safe enough to if the change does happen. And so yeah, that's what you should do as
everyone's been affected the same way. But
I think this was the same thing for big companies, smaller companies.
But we stayed the same actually, but we was not able to increase the production during the COVID times. Because we have no spaces, Okay. So actually it was a missed opportunity, kinda, from some point of view, because exactly I saw it. I was at Cord Factory, and they're also super talented people, and they had like such an increase of demand, not just of their brands, but they're doing a lot of OEMs. And when I heard like how many people then they needed to fire after this, so it was so I was like, okay, I'm happy. I was not forced, because it's a stressful decision. It is.
It's not easy.
It's not easy, so you're always working with people. So for us, we had no space to fit like more people, so we were always in delays during the COVID times with all the orders, and it's like, okay, it's like blew my mind. I know I can't do that.
Another plus about being the size that you are, you've just stayed the same.
Yes, like we could
with that issue.
Yeah.
For better or worse, right?
Yeah.
So I know you can't look back in life on things, but looking back at that time, because I look back now and think, did we really think that acoustic guitars were going to sell like
forever
100% up for forever? Because people did. You look back now, you think, well, of course it was like a couple of years. Everyone spent the money they had on. They were depressed and at home. They wanted to do the thing they always wanted to do, and And why didn't we think like, well, yeah, in 2 years there are going to be a lot of guitars now on reverb, and now that's why now the used market is suffering.
Yeah,
because there's just where are these guitars? The iPhone. Eventually, this phone will be taken apart and made into other devices, or even thrown in the garbage. Sadly, right? But acoustic guitars, that doesn't really happen. So where are all these guitars that people bought?
I think they're at their homes,
I would say so.
At their homes, because they are like, during the COVID times, it was so cool.
You go to
Henning's mom, where's your guitar?
There's no guitar here.
Actually, I can, because there's also like this never-ending optimism in people like, oh, I will get back to the guitar and play it,
I know where they are. They're in your house.
Henning took it all.
My house, I certainly had my share of that.
No, but I think for acoustic guitar, the age, it really helps. So I'm a huge supporter of this like secondhand market, and
let's talk about that. I've always bought new. I love the smell of a guitar, like a brand new guitar smell. It's very intoxicating, and that's a whole podcast right there. But I've recently just got into used guitars because I realized that new guitars quickly become old guitars anyway. All right, it's Paul from Studio Rats. How you doing, buddy?
All right, mate.
Right, take a seat. I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
I know from seeing you on the channel, you like relics, electric guitars.
I like beating up things
because you haven't got to scratch it, right?
Yeah.
And we starting to talk about new and used guitars, but I want to just go on this. What do you think about relic acoustic guitars?
Relic acoustic guitars.
Yeah. Put the mic in your face.
In there.
There you go. Because this is a thing now.
Yes.
People are relicing acoustics. You think that's good?
Yeah, I do.
Wow.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I mean that for me, because you make nitro finished. Does Furch do nitro as well? Or
we do different kind of finishes. Yes, one of them we call vintage finish. So that's more like a relic kind of style.
Yeah. I mean, I love. For me, and I say this on our live show, but for me, I don't. The whole thing of taking like a perfect guitar, I'm worried to go and damage it. If it's already been dented, if it's already got the scratches and that sort of stuff, I'm not worried about it. And it's just, and then you can play it without fear of
exactly.
So you want to get
a used guitar, which has the dings already, and you save money.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You don't want to develop your own relic. You have to buy it already like a relic.
That's a really good point.
That's the thing.
That's a really good point. It takes so long, and I don't want to. Your guitars that you make are absolute works of art. They sound fantastic. They look fantastic. And if I took that out live on a tour or whatever, I would be worried about smacking it up. So yes, I like more of a beaten up sort of finish. But
I find this fascinating.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, loads of people.
There's so many ways to look at this, and there's forum arguments for days about this thing.
Yeah.
But that's why I get it with the used thing, because it's already got the dings in it and you save the money.
Yeah.
But some brands like Martin will charge on their Authentic series an extra $1,000 to do the relicking.
Do you know how difficult it is to make like a relic kind of thing?
Like artificial relic.
The time to do it, right? Let's not confuse that. But doesn't it sound funny when I say you can pay someone $1,000 to effectively damage your guitar?
Yeah, but it's not damaging. You need to like really think about it. Like, because I was doing the relicking, like the customer asked specifically
you've done
me
it. You've done it.
to done the relic. So I was like this with like a sender, and I was like, okay, and how do we do it? And I needed to like really in my imagination to say, okay, so if you are going and you are strumming this way, so it will create it in here, and then okay, so you have it here and you send it off. So I sent it off, and I so I had the hair like this, and with all my hairs I was like completely into
Then
like
beer mark
cover.
over the top.
So I was like, okay, finished.
So you've done it.
Yeah, I've done it.
Have you done it?
No, we don't.
Would you do it?
Yeah, it could be fun, but as a commercial thing, no, not really.
Wow. I've recently got into your thought process of buying used because it has those already. I love a brand new guitar, but it really, and people watching this will know, it really hurts
It does.
when you get that first, because then that's not flawless
Present,
anymore.
yeah.
So I get it. I think that's a bit extreme though to get the relic, because then that's the complete opposite, isn't it? Well, this thing's already
Oh yeah. Some of
every
my
mark you
guitars-
could ever get.
Some of my
right?
guitars look like they've been dragged.
Yeah.
Behind the car.
Yeah, but behind the car. They literally do. And
actually-
people say they look ridiculous.
That's fantastic marketing point, like a series where we made the dent so you don't need to, so we will be not like relicking, but like accidentally hitting guitars.
Yeah.
Like release, so this is your guitar for feeling relaxed,
So that-
Okay,
that's
you doesn't seem like that happy.
That's exactly what a relic is. They're selling you that you haven't got to worry now. It's already been done.
Yeah, but relic, it's exactly as we just thought. It's like it costs a lot of time and thinking. But if I just go around like dent,
Oh, you mean
and now so it will be a deliver
Right,
not
right.
aesthetically beautiful,
Yeah.
but something, and then
Well, they actually exist. They called B-stock.
B-stock. True. So we can work the B-stock more. Yeah. So thank you, Paul.
Pleasure.
Thank you, Paul.
All right,
cool.
I won't mess up your lovely podcast.
Yeah.
anymore, so.
Wow. I didn't know you've done a relic
Yeah.
guitar before. Wow, that's cool. And do you? Yeah, that's a good point. Do you sell B stock for guitar?
No.
You don't.
You find it at some retailers, so for
Retail.
sure, yes, yeah.
Okay.
But for that is doesn't happen. We have to always fix the guitar. If we have it can happen that you have some dent in the factory, so you have to repair the piece before you leave.
Let's talk about retailers. Gibson, Taylor, Fender, Martin are starting to sell direct to consumer, which is could be a big problem for dealers because they're competing with them. There are pros and cons with someone like Sweetwater, who's sponsoring this event. They're great. The great thing about them is you can buy the guitar, you can try it in your home, you can return it. That is a great thing to have. When you buy direct from Gibson, they're not that relaxed about it. You can still return by law, of course, but they're not going to be as flexible as Sweetwater are. And that's why Sweetwater are great for people want to try the brands that they stock. But do you currently, well, I'm guessing you sell direct to consumer because you do customs.
As well, yeah.
Do you sell direct to consumer? Or
Yeah, a little bit, yes, yeah.
You do? Okay. What are your thoughts? I mean, obviously it's better for you because there's more profits there because you still charge what the store would charge, but you do have to ship and manage the orders and manage all that stuff that the dealer would be doing. What's the future of that? Is the future for all brands just to sell direct over the internet? Or do you think guitar stores are still relevant in 2024?
Like independent stores, definitely relevant. But I think in terms of like a branding, that's how we are using our direct sales. Like because you can visit the factory, you can have a factory tour with Fork, and you have a dedicated like a product specialist for you. It spends time with you. You go through the stock and everything. You can go through different options. Depends what you're looking for, and then you can at the end of it you can purchase the guitar from us. And the reason we are doing it is that I definitely want to have this like a really like a very deep and very strong Furch experience for our customers. I want to have a spot in the world where people can really enjoy it like 100% Furch. And you cannot do it without actually having the possibility to sell the guitar at that spot. It's the purchasing moment emotionally is so important
I was going to say,
that
it comes back to emotional, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
The connection.
And so that's the reason why we're doing it. It's more like about like just showing what the ultimate experience is.
So you have factory tours.
Yeah, we do.
I'd like to do that sometime.
Yeah. Welcome. We are really near to each other. So,
that's possible
yes,
to do one day almost,
in one
like-
day we can go well.
So I could come.
Yeah, so a lot of customers are going directly to us either to buy such guitar and see the production, or as we are doing a lot of custom shop, they're actually going to the Woodstock and are selecting the plates they want for the guitar. So we go through the Woodstock, we are knocking on the tone woods, and they can go like, okay, so I chose this specific plate for me, and let's do the design. So I completely get why you did this, because the customers, the guitarist, the artist, they feel part of the brand, so this is why we are doing it like for a lot of time.
Some people, the whole name on the headstock thing, like some people will only buy a Fender because they want it to say Fender. And even if they play another guitar that they connect with emotionally more, it doesn't say Fender on the headstock. And
but Fender deserves that position.
Yeah.
So I cherish that. I cherish that because
that's why I've always been drawn to Martin. I love actually emotionally, I love the fact that I live near the factory and I've been there loads of times. I'm friends with some of the people there, but also, my favorite artists are the Beatles and Johnny Cash and Elvis. They all play Martin guitars. So that's another emotional, but that's a deep emotional level of that history we mentioned earlier about that branding behind you. And that's a blessing and a curse, because you have to honor the brand while moving forward. That's their challenge. You were saying you don't have that problem, so you can experiment and do new things, and no one's going to be on a forum and complain about it, because there's nothing to damage with the legacy there of like they would with all that hundreds of years and all that stuff. So I freely admit I'm the same. I've got a Sir guitar that I love, and is the guitar I should take to a gig because it's got the quiet pickups and it's got the stainless steel frets. But I want to, when they take the picture of the gig, I kind of want it to be a Fender. But when I think about it, that's kind of a weird thing. What does it matter? What does the branding really matter? It's again about the sound. If it affects me on an emotional level, then it matters. And how can we really?
I think every study I read, not about guitars only, but about basically all the product which you are buying for your home, for your use, car, it's emotional anyway.
But for instance, check the phones. No, I think phones are not at all emotional. I really am 100% sure that we all get iPhones. Like, what's your phone?
iPhone. Because I love it.
But we love it because of something. So maybe I haven't tested, but Xiaomi is like copying them, and we won't buy it. So it's in our head, So they already put it in our heads. I think it's so.
No, they have another strategy. When you have a Mac, an iPhone, an Apple Watch, an Apple TV,
it works all together.
They have what they call an ecosystem.
Yeah, but they got us on this.
But I love that as well.
I do. I rely on it for what I do. Actually, it's people shouldn't look down on that. It's convenient. Acoustic guitar brands don't have an ecosystem, do they? No, they just have. They have the emotional connection to the name. Yeah, there's so many players that will only play a Martin. Doesn't matter what you give them, they won't play it. They want that.
Yeah.
And I completely understand this, so exactly, because I'm just buying the iPhones. And I haven't even tested the other phones. Maybe they are better. Like, I don't know. Maybe they are like fantastic and they're battling for the clients, and we are just completely ignoring them. It's true, so this is how the human brain operates.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm going to add this in. Famous artists that have played your guitars, because obviously once you'll have that as well. But imagine when Mr. Martin built his first guitar, he didn't know the Beatles were going to play it on Blackbird. So are any famous, what is famous? That's another question, but are any, what respected famous artists are playing your guitars? Because that will eventually lead to that 100 years from now, people might say, has to say that brand on the headstock. They might not be having that conversation. So is anyone playing, have you got people, what's the word? People playing your guitars, like artists?
Endorsers.
Playing the guitars now.
We have people these days. Actually, we more like accidentally notice that somebody is playing our guitar, because these days I guess
it's changing too, because I mentioned the Beatles and Elvis, but now it's more TikTok and YouTube, isn't it? Like if a video goes viral and they're using a folk guitar, then that's great for you, isn't it?
Well, but it's a different kind of marketing.
All right, so the thing is, we've gone off on a massive tangent, but that's what I wanted. I had preset questions, but the reason I wanted to do this, that I mentioned to you guys last night, was for that spontaneous thing. But we've had that. We even had some guests come in, so that's great. But let's just pull back if you get towards the end. I do have to ask about acoustic amplification, because the foundation of my YouTube channel is based on that. I know it's weird because with an acoustic guitar, that is the speaker. That's the sound. But as a performer and someone that likes to loop, and now looping is big, and now effects on acoustic are big too. People are using distortion, they're using delays, they're using reverbs. It's easier to tune when you plug in, and we're recording direct, and we're live streaming direct as well. So I think that's getting more and more important. As a company, what are you doing with electronics and pickups? Have you got any thoughts on it? Or you do,
No.
Obviously, you do what the customer asks you to.
Yeah, of
but
course.
Personally, have you got any thoughts and feelings on the quality and the best kind of way to do it?
Exactly. We discussed it. Like the gold standard in current days is the Alberg's Anthem, because it has the mic and a piezo, so you can mix the sound a little bit, like, you know, record what you want and recreate a little bit the sound using this. So this is why we are using it. Actually, I'm fan of really, like, if somebody was playing like this and sitting, so I would suggest like no electronics whatsoever. But that is not a practical information. So if you got a player, you know, he needs to be heard. So and actually my heart is bleeding when these like really professional players, and they need it. They need these like sign mounted electronics because they want to see it. But if you cut a hole in like old stock Madagascar rosewood, you know, I'm not watching. I'm like this.
And I agree. The anthem is very, I don't like that phrase plug and play, but it's, I mean, I used it last night, the performance, because I just knew it would give me some kind of foundation, especially plugging into a new amp that I've never used, a new venue, I never played that. It's reliable. It's a good word. It's reliable. They have new systems coming out that I'll cover on my channel this year that I imagine you're going to check out. They've already got the hi-fi, which is getting rid of that undersaddle pickup and getting more body sound.
No, it will be interesting. Like we ordered. Like I'm very much looking for that because our
Did you order the hi-fi or the hi-fi?
hi-fi duet.
Right.
I'm very much curious about that because we have fingerstyle players, you know, so professional, and they also want, you know, play a lot of percussive style, and this could be a good fit. But we don't know. We will see.
I actually demoed it at NAMM on my channel.
And what's your...
Well, you can't demo stuff at NAMM. I'm going to wait till I do the video for them on my channel. So, and I used to get very carried away with gear and get very like, I must have that and it's going to change my world. Pro tip, don't do that. It's a very dangerous state to get in. Keep an open mind, get the thing, try it different rooms, try it different venues, and then make your decision. You know, keep that open mind and don't get into the hype thing. Not that they're hyping it, by the way. And it's but there is hype around it. Every week on my live stream, have you tried it yet? When's it coming out? Where is it? Why are they taking so long? They've been for pre-order on Sweetwater. A lot of talk on the price. It's going to be around $450, which is expensive, but not if it sounds amazing. If it's a game changer, that word again, it's worth it because you can't put a price on amazing live sound, in my opinion. But that's something we'll talk about in the future. For now, you're using the Anthem. You're happy with the Anthem.
Yeah, I'm happy with the Anthem because of the microphone. You know, of course,
right.
Well, yeah, you know, in our case, we can go for a new pickup system already only when it's sort of like a market tested. Like you said, you know, we cannot just, you know, fall for hype of the situation. I need this to be something which customers really like start to demand, and then of course it's just easy to move for it. But before that happens, we test it, we play with it, yes, for sure. But I have to be careful about like what we put on our guitars in that.
Yes,
it's really true. I learned that lesson because I'm not in a company again. I'm just a fan, and I had that mentality. I see a lot of people have that watch my channel. They say, why don't they do this? Why don't they put Bluetooth in it? Why don't they use IRs? I used to say that to Martin. It's funny. I went to Martin once. I said to them, have you tried that new blah, blah, blah pickup from so-and-so? Everyone's talking about it on Acoustic Guitar Forum. And they say, well, we can't. Why not? It might be the next big thing. We need result. We need consistency. We need value. The money. A lot of the companies won't be able to pay those prices for something like a hi-fi duet. You know, that's going to eat into the margins.
Yeah.
They'll probably stick with the Element, to be honest. And then the customer will do that. Will do the upgrades.
But we can do it because, you know, as we're doing these custom orders mostly, and people, you know, creating the custom, they ask me, oh, I want this kind of sound, and I want to like, what are your suggestions for this? So I need to know what's in the market, what's new, because I can say like, okay, for this purpose, exactly this one could fit that, you know. So because I can use it on that one guitar,
yeah.
you know. So and it's like it's different to your
you have a
company.
fixed price for it, you know, and you have your margin in it. That's understandable.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
Are there any other systems you've tried that you you are a fan of, or you would consider?
Like with K&K,
K&K.
you know, so some people want that, and I understand why.
Yeah.
It's a different type of sound. Actually, some people really are like purists, don't know anything, and they use like passive, you know, this like Fishman passive.
So sandhole
without-
pickup.
yeah, exactly.
You know, I always tell people, if you play every night, get something like the Anthem. If you play once a month, get something like a K&K. Or if you know you want that style of pickup. And if you play once a year, get the Fishman.
Exactly.
In fact, the Fishman, I was just raving about this the other day, the Rare Earth mic blend.
Exactly.
great.
Yeah, it's
Really
great. So we have some, and actually we have a player now. I remembered in Slovakia. So and he's doing a lot of gigs, and he's just this purist, and it looks terrible because the cables are everywhere.
That's why I don't
Yeah.
like sandhole pickups, because of the look.
Yeah, exactly.
It's in the
But
sound
it works for him, and he plays super lot of gigs, you know, using this.
Oh, that's a great. So all three of those are great in their own.
Yeah.
I'd say they're the three right now for me. But I'm really interested to see what else is coming. And I do follow that stuff. But I totally understand why builders are hesitant or sometimes cannot use them because there's other factors involved, and that's yeah, everyone should know that.
I think what factor is also like picking up acoustic guitar quite difficult is that well, if you think about it, all the pickup system which we are talking about right now, they are built or designed to fit basically every guitar. But I can tell you that every guitar is constructed a little bit differently, you know.
Yeah.
So with the resonance modes on the top board and everything, it can be in the different locations. So you would like to pick it up also maybe on a slightly different locations here or there, or you have to equalize the guitar.
Install is important. And it's also amazing to think that some of these pickup builders make a system that then goes in every acoustic guitar. That's impressive.
Yeah, it's a person like that did fantastic job.
Yeah.
And also, actually, I like the element system, you know, the PS1.
Yeah.
So for instance, if a client asks me, oh, I so want Anthem because, you know, it's a hype. And I say like, but are you actually playing, you know, using the ampli, or are you playing like pure acoustic? So is it worth it? Do you want it just because of like, you should have it? Because you should have it, and they say like, no, I never play on the app. So it's like,
I think it's an SUV syndrome, right?
exactly,
You buy
you
a take
just want
off-roaders
it.
just in
So
case.
actually, you know, so actually, quite a lot of friends like, I said like, okay, you maybe will be completely okay just with an element. You pay less. The system is fantastic, and
you can take it out if you want.
and you
to.
can take it
It's the
out,
same.
and it's like, you know, should go with that,
yeah,
and we can always like install after, like if you go for it. But you know, so I think. It will be good for people to know like they can actually buy what they like.
I like that.
because I have a feeling like they need to like something because they wrote a review or is like that. And I see people coming in here and it's like, oh, I want this, you know, spruce with rosewood because I heard like this is the sound I should be. And then I see they actually like completely different guitar, and it and maybe like cheaper. So for me, it would be like more convenient to persuade them. But I said like, no, don't buy that. You are so much in love with this. Yeah, but that's like not the high series. I said like, but okay. So be happy. You save the money, and this guitar like actually works for you. You don't need to go what the hype is and what you read.
I've been guilty of it. You know, I should have this. I've never owned a Brazilian rosewood guitar, but of course, I think I
Okay,
should.
that's a
own one.
different.
That's different. I should.
Yeah, okay. Brazilian is different.
Okay.
Like I have obsession, but I totally like because it creates this kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, but
We really need to wrap up, but there's just
sir.
one quick question because I've asked every builder this that I've met over the last 12 months. Why don't more brands use stainless steel frets on acoustic guitar? You do use stainless steel frets, right?
yeah,
So,
yeah, we do.
So you're a fan of them.
I'm a huge fan of them.
Does it affect the sound on the acoustically? I guess everything does, but
Yeah, but no.
But you're a fan.
Yeah, I'm a fan of it. It's good and it's like it's there forever. Basically, not forever, but you know. So
you might
it's
be
gonna
the first company that said that you actually like this. There's a lot of hate towards them.
Yeah, because it's super
amazes me.
difficult to work with. A lot of time. A lot. It's like it costs more, and it is like really.
And that's my part. Which I can jump in. You know, we've been playing with this a while ago, but you know, it's the standard processes which I think generally are used and we are using for like fretting the guitar they just don't work great with stainless steel because of its density, difficulty to just sort of like sand the surface, the grind the surface and so on.
Yeah.
But then advantage and of course the cost, so that's tough. So I would tell you that probably in our price structure, guitar would get maybe. It's maybe not that much, maybe 20 euro difference,
No.
in the retail price.
No, it's absolutely not 20 euros. It's 120 because all the like routers you are, so it really damage your instruments. So you are not just buying the stainless steel frets, but you need to as well buy new routers because it just cut it. So this is why the company doesn't make it, because actually, the other fret materials are great. So we are as well using, so...
That's actually what I thought. From the answers I've gotten in the past, I was thinking it's going to take them a little bit longer. Time is money, and where the equipment, repair the equipment.
Pain in the ass to work with that.
And I'm also thinking less repairs as well. Like, that could be bad for repair shops, and maybe that's why... I mean, a lot of repair people don't want to use them either.
One thing in terms of like a longevity of the guitar, it's stainless steel is very difficult to bend into the shape, but then the radius of the fingerboard is actually constantly changing a little bit, more or less, in a time. When you have high humidity, it changes a little bit. When you have low humidity, it changes a little bit. Then after some time, it can get out,
Yeah.
You can fix it maybe with some glue, but still there is increased danger that it goes out in 5 years time. Maybe not 1 year time, but 5-10 years time. But nickel silver or mono, these kind of alloys, they are more like flexible. They can adapt a little bit.
That's really good info. And I'm really happy we had this conversation, because that is what I was thinking. But that some of the companies are not that forthcoming about those. And I'm not going to speak for them and say that is very same for everyone, but it makes a lot of sense. And I've been trying to find information on this, and that definitely makes a lot of sense. And I can't say 100% that I'm a fan. I haven't tried them enough. I've only tried them on 2 guitars. I want to try them on more guitars, but there's nothing worse for me than wearing through the frets and having to then find someone to replace the frets.
Yeah.
But I can't like now, if all these builders are here. Where I live, you've got to find someone you trust and leave it with them. They get damaged, or they do the wrong thing, or it will be the same. Back. So I think stainless steel frets should be used more. And I think that's going to be my answer long term. I definitely want to try them some more.
There are definitely engineering difficulties in the process.
Do you have a model now that has stainless steel?
No, we don't have.
Have you made one with stainless steel frets?
Yeah, before, yes,
You
we
have.
did.
Again, you'll do it as a custom option.
No, these days we just don't offer it. But we did it before, many years ago, and when we were trying to play with the technology, and we were thinking about putting it in maybe a higher range of the models where the cost is okay, and but we just said, okay, well, this is just maybe too difficult and too low value for customers.
Is that your go-to stainless steel?
Yeah, like for the like higher end models, this is what I'm because I want the guitar like to be, in the family or somewhere working 100 years. So this is, but exactly that's not for like standard something, but as we are moving towards this, I want to so I want to have like.
I don't know why a lot of electric builders using it. I don't know why it's just not a standard thing. And again, I wonder if in 10 years' time we'll see Martin guitars. That'll be a marketing thing. Oh, we now have stainless steel frets.
It can be, yes.
Oh, really? Oh, really?
Well,
all right. We're going to wrap things up because we've gone over time. But I mean, I could do this all day long. Just to finish, where can people find out more about your guitars? I'm sure there's a lot of interest now from hearing about your story and all this great information. Where can people go to find out about what's the website to get in touch?
FurchGuitars.com.
Can you spell it for us?
FURCH.
There you go. And I'll put
Guitars.
it in the description below as well.
Oh yeah, thanks for that. I think it's very useful for in our case.
Especially.
And
definitely check our Instagram. I think that because we suck at marketing because that's just my phone, and also the website. I actually took a course on like WordPress, how to do the website, but didn't make it. So check the Instagram.
And Dowina.
It's Dowina, so it's DOWINA.
Guitars.
So it's Dowina Guitars. But so go to Instagram, and I'm trying to put there some like new stuff. Much more vivid than the website.
And I want to say thank you to 42 Gear Street and Sweetwater and all the brands you see behind us for putting this. This wouldn't have happened without them. And again, this is a very rare chance that we get to talk like this. It just never happens. So that's why events like this are important.
Cool,
Thank
cool.
you, Henning, for this. And if you're new here, please subscribe and ring the bell to my channel, because I'd like to do this again in the future at some point, and there's more content on the channel like this as well. So thanks for joining us. Have a great day. I'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye, guys.